Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's show. My name is Spencer Walsh. Thank you so much for joining us here today. All right, we got a great show for you. And on today's show, Rex Tillerson. He is out. The cabinet is molding in his own image. Donald Trump, he's reflecting his America First views with this pick. We'll explain Gina Haspel, Trump's pick for the CIA director, ran a black site for torture. That's just fabulous. All right. Yes. And we'll give you a great report on that. So, also, Tillerson is fired after blaming the Russia attack for the chemical attack, blaming Russia for the chemical attack in UK. Was there some kind of possible connection? We're thinking about we're right now kind of weighing between doing that story and doing another story about the interesting House race in Pennsylvania. We will look into that and weigh those options as we continue because we don't have that much time. We're only about 30 minutes here, roughly. So anyway, President Trump ousted on Tuesday his Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, as we all know by this point, the most dramatic in a cascade of personnel moves that suggest Trump is determined to surround himself with a loyalist, reflecting his America First views here. There is a cascade of reasons why it was fired. They don't really work well together. That much is true. We know that. And this is definitely another one. Trump announced he would replace Tillerson with Mike Pompeo, the CIA director and former Tea Party congressman who has cultivated a close relationship with the president and has taken a harder line than Mr. Tillerson on critical issues like Iran and North Korea and also Russia. He was one of those people who mocked President Obama for pretty much being too hard on Russia and being pretty much a Russian. He was a Russian hawk. For being too soft on Russia. He was like, we need to do something about Russia for the first time. And if you just take a second and you just Google Mike Pompeo, you get a very revealing picture of him. If you just scroll through his Wikipedia page on his positions on things. So, if you look at his political positions on surveillance, he's very much for it. Terrorism, he is very much punishing people for it in a very strong way. Pompeo opposes closing the Guantanamo Bay camp. Pompeo desires regime change in North Korea. Pompeo worked to undermine the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action nuclear deal with Iran. He hated that deal. Russia said, Pompeo said that Russia had reasserted itself aggressively, invading and occupying Ukraine, threatening Europe, and doing it nearly nothing in the aid and destruction and defeat of ISIS. To aid in the destruction and defeat of ISIS. So, Pompeo accused President Obama of inviting Russia into Syria. He also hated WikiLeaks. He also hates WikiLeaks and thinks Edward Snowden should be executed. And he's very national security. He's very military-industrial complex. That's what you think when you should think of him. He wants Edward Snowden executed. So that's pretty much where we are with him right now. Just to give you something about his kind of replacement. Mr. Tillerson's dismissal on the heels of Gary D. Cohn's resignation as the Trump's chief economic advisor over dispute over tariffs pulls the Trump administration further out of the economic and foreign policy mainstream and closer to the nationalist ideas that animated Trump's 2016 campaign. It also suggests that after a year of chaotic on-the-job training, Trump has developed more confidence in his own instincts and wants aides and cabinet members with he has good chemistry and who embrace his positions. So, he said that him and Pompeo have been on the same wavelength for a lot of issues, which is just, in a word, disturbing, because the issues that he is in the same wavelength on, that's not really great at all. And as the White House absorbed the news about Tillerson, rumors swirled that National Security Advisor General H.R. McMaster and the Secretary of Veteran Affairs, David Shulkin, would soon follow him out. The sense of disarray was deepened by the purging of Tillerson's inner circle and sudden dismissal of a personal aide close to Mr. Trump. And if you read about it, just if you look here, I have it on my Twitter account. I tweeted out yesterday. It's an incredible list that we are about to see here. And it is, if we pull it up, and I am just trying to find it. So yeah, here it is. So Yates, Barara, Comey, Dahl, Higgins, Harvey, Scaramucci, Flynn, Walsh, McFarland, Short, Priebus, Cohen, Watnick, Bannon, Gorka, Bradford, Price, Johnson, Higby, Manigault, Weymouth, Porter, Dubke, Shaw, Corallo, Spicer, Sutherland, Sifakis, Shackelford, Winfrey, Powell, Katz, Shannon, Hicks, and yesterday, Rex Tillerson. That's the one. And also Carla Khan, Freely Dearborn, and Gary Cohn, and then John McEntee. So, who's Trump's personal security aide, who was leaving today, or yesterday as well. So, yeah, that should be very interesting. And also the thing with David Shulkin was he literally decided to, Trump did, in a meeting with David Shulkin he's the head of the Veterans Affairs, he decided to call up, veteran Pete Hegseth, who also hosts Fox and Friends, about his views on a possible position. And Pete Hegseth was, in fact, the another contender for the job of Secretary of VA. And he's, if David Shulkin's on the way out, the Fox and Friends guy is who's exactly going in. Because that's just the way it'll work. It's just the way it'll work. I'm sorry. That's just going to be we're going to have a Fox and Friends host in a key cabinet position. That, I mean, that is what liberals would satirize sardonically about the Trump administration actually coming true. Because they're going to put it in there. So, yeah, he said, I'm really at a point where we're getting close to having the cabinet and other things I want. Tuesday, Trump said before leaving a trip to California, he disagreed with Tillerson on the Iran nuclear deal and other issues. He said it was a different mindset. The lack of rapport was evident in the peremptory way the president fired him. Mr. Tillerson learned of it on Tuesday morning when an aide showed him a Twitter post from Trump announcing the change. But he had gotten a warning last Friday when the chief of staff, John Kelly, called to tell him to cut tell him to cut short a trip to Africa, and added, "You may get a tweet." Oh, they all get tweets, don't they? It was an abrupt end after months of speculation to a star-crossed tenure for a Texas oil baron who never adapted the power dynamics of Mr. Trump's world or President Trump's worldview. Tillerson clashed with the White House staff and broke with Trump on a range of issues, including the dispute between Saudi Arabia and Qatar and the American response to Russia's cyber aggression. And that brings up Russia. And there's a very interesting dynamic with Russia there as well, because he was kind of put in surrounding, to the most part, the Saudi oil deal. Sorry, not the Saudi oil deal. The Russian oil deal, that Exxon, of course, he's the former CEO of, had made a huge company with a huge deal with Rosneft. Once he got in and decided it would look too suspicious, they canceled the deal, and that was just a week ago, and then it became pretty clear Rex Tillerson did not have that much time left in Secretary of State. For that reason, they were not going to be able to do that $9 trillion of revenue deal that Exxon / Rosneft, which is the state Russian oil company, would not be able to profit off that in that way. It soon came clear that was just not going to happen, and the fact that all the other reasons that were mentioned. So Tillerson was kind of like, I don't want to put up with this anymore. He also was called a effing moron. He also called Trump an effing moron, and then that whole feud where he was like, I would beat Rex Tillerson in an IQ test or something like that. Trump said that, and that's just pretty crazy. So, yeah, however sudden his departure, Tillerson's future seemed tenuous since, again, last October, where the whole moron incident happened. A meeting with colleagues at the Pentagon, Trump said aides never forgave him. Aides and Trump never forgave him, that is. Trump is the key part there. Tillerson had a hectic schedule of meetings set for Tuesday afternoon instead. After a brief phone call with Trump, he appeared in the State Department briefing room at 2 p.m. to confirm he would hand over his duties to his deputy at midnight. What is more important, he said with his voice thick with emotion, so sad, to ensure an orderly and smooth transition during a time the country needs to continues to face significant policy and national security challenges. So yeah, big shift to the national security team here, and Pompeo, who the president will have a more hawkish Secretary of State, who is more skeptical of diplomatic engagement with North Korea. He's pretty much a war king. He's a war hawk, a huge hawk, a Secretary of State who's supposed to be the guy calming down the war hawks at the other part of the government, which is a little bit disturbing. The hawks in the other part of the government. So, yeah, just as Trump is preparing to lead with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, we got this guy in here who's very much against that and is like probably going to be starting a campaign for months and months and weeks to just be on TV saying, I don't know about this North Korea thing. So maybe not a good idea. Because, yeah, after Pompeo's replacement at the CIA, Trump named the current deputy director, Gina Haspel, a respected career official. She would be the first woman to lead the agency. She's also a torture queen. Well, more on that later. Ms. Haspel also oversaw a secret, CIA prison in Thailand where a terrorism suspect was waterboarded, and then she later drafted a cable ordering of the destruction of the videotapes documenting brutal interrogations, both of which could complicate, let's just put it that way, her Senate investigation. We better be hoping that a torture queen like her does not get into a place like the CIA. Just imagine what could happen, because they don't really have any oversight whatsoever. We'll find more about Gina Haspel next. This is a perfect time to take a little bit of a break. This is the Spencer Walsh Radio Network. Your show will return in just 4 minutes.
Pendo on the beat.